What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Ratch Report. Apologies, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I have a migraine as well, which is why you're not seeing me on screen here. But we got some big news about the Toronto Raptors today. And before we start, I want to give quick couple of shout outs to a few supporters of this channel, Kevin and Omega Genesis Prime. Thank you to both of you guys for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. And let's talk about the big news that came out surrounding the Toronto Raptors today, which was a massive indication of what the Raptors could do with Bruce Brown ahead of the trade deadline. Now, it was being reported by NBA Central that the Miami Heat have shown interest in acquiring Bruce Brown, according to Jake Fisher. The Toronto Raptors have convinced numerous front offices that they are motivated to help facilitate transactions before the trade buzzer sounds. They want to get involved in any Jimmy Butler trade, one general manager told the Steinline. Such efforts would almost certainly start with Bruce Brown, whose $23 million expiring salary could be a key ingredient in triangulating a multi-team Butler deal. Brown is a former Miami Hurricane star who the Heat, according to league sources, have indeed registered interest in acquiring. Now, for those wondering why would the Miami Heat be interested in Bruce Brown, one of the several reports that have come out surrounding the Miami Heat in terms of what they want back in a Jimmy Butler trade is not only win now players. Now, look, I know you can question Bruce Brown if he's going to help them really that much. He's a good role player, but most importantly, he has an expiring salary, as this report indicates, which is something the Miami Heat have indicated they do not wish to take on long-term salary. And the reason is because having cap space in today's NBA is a luxury. Just ask the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, whether that's working out all that well for them or not, you can definitely question with that Paul George signing, but that was one of the reasons a 76ers team traded James Harden for a bunch of expiring contracts last season, only to go out in free agency and sign someone they really like. Now, Miami Heat could do that certainly as well. And maybe you could even argue they might just re-sign Bruce Brown as well to a lesser deal for next season, considering he seems like a type of player that would really fit in the Miami Heat system. And again, just considering that the teams involved are teams like the Phoenix Suns, of course, the Miami Heat, and then you get the Bucks in there as well, who apparently want Bradley Beal. You need a fourth team to get involved there because of how complicated it gets with salaries. And you got a big expiring contract there. I think that could really intrigue a Miami Heat team as well. In terms of the Raptors and what they could get, this is where I think it gets a little bit tricky because all three of those teams don't have a ton of draft capital, which becomes a question of as to, what can the Raptors really get in a trade for Bruce Brown and which multiple teams would be involved. But again, that is something for Masai to figure out, and I'm sure there's something that he'll figure out that, he would like in return for Bruce Brown as well. But in terms of Bruce Brown, let's quickly talk about his recent performance because he's really been heating up, no pun intended. And the last few games, it seems like he's been playing really well for the Toronto Raptors. Now, the last 3 games for Bruce Brown, he has averaged 16.6 points, 3 assists, 5.3 rebounds, and shooting an incredible 55.5% from the field, which is really impressive. And I think when the Raptors originally traded for Bruce Brown, these are the kind of numbers they were really expecting him to put up and just really help the bench, of course, but also just raise his value as well. Now, of course, if he continues to play the way he has, a lot of front offices will definitely want him. What the Raptors can do, again, whether that was by design or by default or just a little bit of luck or a combination of the three, the Raptors have found themselves in a perfect situation for Bruce Brown in which they can help facilitate a lot of trades. Again, most likely Jimmy Butler does get traded to the Phoenix Suns, but even if he doesn't, the Raptors could be that third team involved helping fill the salaries as well. They do have a ton of expiring salaries, not just Bruce Brown, but they also have Chris Boucher, who's making around $9-10 million as well. So considering that Jimmy Butler's making approximately around $48-49 million, having big salaries that are expiring like this certainly helps the Toronto Raptors and certainly helps a Miami Heat team who don't want to take on long-term contract. Now let's talk about the next report because this came out yesterday and this was very interesting because it was linking a Western Conference team to Jakob Poeltl. Now it was being reported by Evan Sidery yesterday that the Lakers recently checked in with the Raptors about Jakob Poeltl. Los Angeles can make the salaries work alongside draft capital in a potential deal for Poeltl by including Rui Hachimura and Jalen Hood-Schifino. It would take a large offer for Toronto to consider trading Poeltl. Now, several reports have come out yesterday, including one that stated that the Raptors aren't in any hurry to trade Jakob Poeltl, and I find that quite interesting because soon after, Evan Sidery came out with this report stating that the Lakers checked in, which obviously means that the Lakers and Raptors have held trade talks surrounding Jakob Poeltl. And to add more fuel to the fire, Anthony Davis has come out recently and stated that he prefers to play the 4 position, pretty much just indicating to the Lakers front office that they should go out and acquire a center. And what better player to acquire than Jakob Poeltl? Now, I find these reports quite interesting because I have always viewed Lakers as a really good team for Jakob Poeltl. He fits in there well. They're a team that really emphasizes defense, which Jakob Poeltl plays. He also gets a lot of rebounds as well, and he can pass really good for a center position as well. But most importantly, when we talk about why the Lakers need a center, is for one simple reason only. I'm not saying Jakob Poeltl is going to be slowing down or even stopping Nikola Jokic, but it definitely helps you have a bigger center, a 7-foot center that can go up against Nikola Jokic. Again, you don't necessarily want Anthony Davis, as good as he is defensively, being matched up with Nikola Jokic all the time. It just limits his offense, and anyone that's played sports will tell you this, particularly with basketball. You can't give it your all on both ends of the court, which is why you see a lot of players just take a few possessions off on the defensive side. But this would be a great acquisition for the Lakers. Now, in terms of some of the names that were mentioned, in Rui Hachimura, $17 million. Jakob Poeltl makes close to $20 million. And then you got Jalen Hood-Schifino. So the salaries definitely work. But in terms of some of the picks that the Raptors would want, the Lakers do have some intriguing picks, particularly they own in 2026, which the Raptors may want. They already have Indiana Pacers pick. I believe it's top 3 or top 4 protected for next year. And it's a draft class that you definitely would want several picks, because not only does it benefit you having several first-round picks in general, but particularly for a draft class like that, where you could honestly just have a couple of picks there. You could package the Lakers and the Indiana Pacers pick and move up and ultimately get some really good players in the first round and even the top 14, So we'll see what happens in terms of a draft capital. Of course, the Lakers could trade their 2030 or 2031 as well. I'm not quite sure if the Raptors would necessarily want that, but hey, hopefully by then LeBron James is retired and maybe the Lakers aren't as good. Who knows? But in terms of Rui Hachimura, quickly to touch on him as well. Power forward, he's around 6'9". Fairly, he's not a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good role player, which the Raptors could use considering they really lack depth at the forward position. He's someone that will give you 10, 12 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1 or 2 assists. He can hit about a 3 a game as well, which, the Raptors just in such a desperate need of having forwards on their team that can provide good quality minutes. So Rui Hachimura wouldn't be too bad. And also just considering that he's not locked up for long-term money, it could be an intriguing option for the Raptors. In terms of Jalen Hood-Schifino, this is a player I really liked for the Toronto Raptors prior to the draft, but obviously his career hasn't panned out exactly the way a lot of people had anticipated. He pretty much just missed all of his rookie season. Even this season with the Lakers, he's not getting very many minutes, but a 6'4" guard in today's NBA. And you know what? You could always use a 6'4" guard. It doesn't hurt having that much size at the guard position, point guard, whatever he is in his NBA career. I think the Raptors have a good developmental system where they can figure that out. And again, not too much money he's making, still only 21 years old, and definitely has a lot of room to grow, but also has time to turn his career around as well. So what are your thoughts on some of these trade rumors, for particularly Bruce Brown? What are you expecting the Raptors to get in return from a team like the Phoenix Suns, from a team like the Milwaukee Bucks or Miami Heat? And for a trade with the Lakers, what are you expecting the Raptors to get back in a potential Jakob Poeltl trade? I quickly do want to mention, I did forget to mention that in terms of Rui Hachimura, that makes him a little bit more expendable now, considering that Dorian Finney-Smith is obviously a player they have acquired, but Jared Vanderbilt has also been cleared to play and resume play as well. So it kind of just gives them a lot of depth at the forward position. So Rui Hachimura becomes that much more tradable and movable as well for the Lakers. So again, I want to hear all of your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that being said, let's get into our trivia question for today. And the trivia question for today is, which college did Rui Hachimura go to? Was it A, Duke? Was it B, Gonzaga? Was it C, Kansas? Or was it D, Portland? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.